Folks, we want to ask you a couple questions this morning. Who is it that you actually feel is running Canada? Because the closer we dig into things, the more it looks to us like Chrysler Freeland and Justin Trudeau. They're following the exact directive of Klaus Schwab and the World Economic Forum. Well, this video's not what I was planning on, but I'll post it anyway just because you see what happens to me around here because I abuse all these freaking animals. I love all the... Folks, I've got some notes in my hand for this video, and you gotta fucking listen to this. In 2012, Dr. Christy Miller Saunders discovered a virus called PRV in the Chinook salmon being raised in a commercial salmon farm on the west coast of BC. PRV causes organ failure and death in the Chinook salmon. And having this information, the federal government of Canada decided to suppress the information and let things continue on without any further investigations. 10 years later, this March, the Federal Information Council ordered this information be made public, and it was made public only then. People, this could have huge ramifications for the First Nations people of British Columbia. This could be devastating to the Chinook salmon population, and they suppressed the fucking information. I am so fucking outraged I could piss down both fucking legs right now. Unbelievable. So people, I want to put you on to a lady's TikTok account here. Her name is Alexandra Morton, and I'm going to put the picture of her account. She knows what she's talking about. It was her TikTok video that put me onto the article by the Globe and Mail and all of this bullshit that the fucking government has done to the First Nations people and every fucking sovereign citizen in this country again for the name of fucking money. I want you to go join Alexandra Morton's page. Each and every one of you that sees this video and cares about Mother Nature and what the fucking provincial government of British Columbia and the federal government of Canada is helping them do, I want you to go join her page, and she knows what she's talking about. I just discovered this, and now I'm on one of my epic rants again. Fucking unbelievable what the government is doing to us. They should be fucking ashamed, and yet they're not. Soulless bastards. I love each and every one of you, and I hope that you all join Alexandra Morton's page. We gotta stop this shit, people. We gotta fucking stop the assault on Mother Earth and the fucking outrageous assault on the First Nations people and everything that they depend on. I stand as strong as I could stand for each and every First Nations person across this fucking country, and we all need to unite. You all need to set your petty differences aside, quit calling me a colonizer, and the rest of the way, people, colonizers, set those differences aside. Be the warriors that you are. Stand up, join us, and fight for your country and fight for your rights. Stand with me. I love you all.
Today, November 25th, 2021, the BC Salmon Farmers Association launched a website saying my information is wrong. That taking salmon farms out of the Discovery Islands this spring made no difference at all to the health of young wild salmon. They say that independent data found sea lice levels were low last year and this year, that there's no problem with the farms. And they called me an activist. Okay, there's 4 things anyone who cares about wild salmon on the BC coast should know about. Number 1, the data they are using is not independent. They paid mainstream biological consulting for it. 2, sure, I'm an activist, but I've also published my science on the impact of sea lice in the top scientific journals in the world. So if the salmon farmers really don't believe my work, they should explain that to the journals, not on a website. Mainstream biological consulting, who was paid by the BC Salmon Farmers Association to count sea lice, uses social media to slander me. This is not professional. 4, when you really look at the data, we both saw the same thing. There were far more sea lice in 2020 than in 2021 when the salmon farms were removed. Next summer, we will hear directly from the fish when we see how many pink salmon return. And for you salmon farmers, you would do so much better to take an honest approach and try to clean up, rather than allow this kind of nonsense to drag your industry down. Hello, I'm Alexandra Morton. I'm a biologist who's been fighting to protect wild salmon from salmon farms for 35 years. The problem with salmon farms is disease. Because they're feedlots, the fish are crowded and stressed and don't migrate, and they're from another ocean. Diseases breed in these farms, and they become so infectious that when the young wild salmon leave their rivers and try to get to sea, it's basically like trying to walk your child through the infectious disease ward of a hospital on her way to school. They become infected, they become carriers, they die. Wild salmon are absolutely essential. They leave their rivers small, they go out into the open ocean, and they basically collect the energy of the sun hitting the open ocean waters by feeding and growing. And then they come back to their rivers, they lay their eggs in the gravel, and they die. And they pour all the nutrients from the ocean over the watersheds. They feed the trees that make the oxygen we breathe. They feed over 100 species. Wild salmon are essential. It's early February 2022, and that means we're counting down to the days to the start of the migration of BC's young wild salmon. They're hatching and wriggling up through the gravel, getting ready to go to sea. It also means the industrial salmon farming industry has just 26 days to get their sea lice under control, and it's not going well. In 2020, the government of Canada told the salmon farming industry you can have just 3 adult lice on your fish starting on March 1 through June to protect the young wild salmon, or else something. So, for 7 weeks, this boat, the COWBOY, has been sucking hundreds of thousands of farm salmon into its hold, soaking them in fresh water for about 6 hours, and then steaming back to the farm and putting them back into the pens. The company, Maui, is hoping that soaking farm salmon in fresh water will kill the lice on the fish. Maui is the biggest salmon farming company in the world, and they have a lice problem everywhere they operate. Norway, Scotland, Ireland, Eastern Canada, Chile, and here. You would think, and really they want you to think, that they have the problem handled, but they don't. When Maui started treatment at this farm last December in Quatsino Sound, the farm had an average of 2.17 adult lice per fish. After the treatment, they are reporting an average of 11.57 adult lice. The problem got 5 times worse. So Maui brought in another boat to soak the fish again, this time in hydrogen peroxide. And they sent the boat that didn't work to do the same treatment that failed in Quatsino to the central coast of BC and Kitasoo territory. Yes, the treatment that resulted in more lice is being repeated. Meanwhile, Maui has another 3 farms that are over the March 1 limit, and 3 more where the numbers are about to breach the threshold, and they don't have enough boats to cover this. Another company run by Cermak and owned by Mitsubishi is using jets of water and hydrogen peroxide in hopes of removing sea lice from their farms in Clayoquot Sound. And the Norwegian Grieg family have invested $51 million in 2 boats that they hope will kill the sea lice on their farms in Gold River and Tassos. Unfortunately, these boats have not worked in Norway, and there really is no evidence that they are working here. Do you want to help me bear witness to what happens next? Will Maui, Cermak, and Grieg suddenly get their lice under control in the next 4 weeks? Will the government of Canada care if they don't? What will Canada do if these companies breach their conditions of license again? Will wild salmon be lethally infected again this year? I first reported sea lice from salmon farms were killing wild salmon 21 years ago. The difference this time is that all the salmon farm licenses in British Columbia will expire this summer, and the Minister of Fisheries has to decide whether to renew these licenses or not. She will have to stand up to this industry or let this happen again. This is an aggressive industry. They have hired companies to follow me. Who are you guys? Who are you? Why are you following me? What's the plan? The Minister of Fisheries needs to know that we have her back. Wild salmon feed the trees that make the oxygen we breathe.